All right. Hello. Welcome. Just waiting on YouTube. All right. Hello and welcome. I'm Stooge, and today we are going to be continuing the Great Ace Attorney, where we will be beginning Gina's defense. That is to say, the defense of Gina. Give me a moment while I make sure my now live notification got out on my Discord, which you can join here. And then we will get started. How is everybody today? All right. It is that. All right. Um, there we go. Recent games. Yeah. All right. Fine. There. There we go. Yeah. How is everybody today? I've really got to figure. Well, I think I know what it is, and I got to fix it. And to fix it will require uh, sorry, I just saw a message from Pokey, and it's bad. It's bad, and it makes me lose a lot of faith in the humanities. Um, what is this? Why do I have? Okay, that is distracting YouTube. Why are you doing it? Is that just supposed to be a heartbeat? YouTube just has a red line going across the top of my YouTube monitor. And so it's distracting and stuff. All right, let's turn up the game. We're going to continue. All right. I don't think we ought to be going out this. Okay. It's just 2 months since we arrived in London. It's just 2 months since we arrived in London. But we've managed to establish this office. It was finally feeling as though we were settling in. I would be lying if if I said I felt no regret. I'm so sorry, Susato-san. It's just so sudden. I really don't know what to think. I've had no time to gather my thoughts. I know we've only been here for a short time, but in my limited experience of the courtroom, I feel I've learned something. And what would that be? It seems to me there are many facets to people's personalities. Facets? And like a jewel, the light plays off them in complex patterns, illuminating their actions and their motives. But we see only a small number of the total facets, and what is illuminated is only part of the whole story. What lies in the shadows? What do these facets we cannot see look like? Perhaps there are some parts we'll never lay eyes on for as long as we live. That's so true. Sometimes I feel as though I'm blind to so much, but I keep hoping that one day it will all become clear. That all the facets will be illuminated, and I finally understand how everything fits together. The Great Yap Attorney. Yep. Yep. Hey, Pokey, can you do me a favor and check to make sure that YouTube is actually live? YouTube has, I think it's supposed to be a heartbeat now that goes across on my stream for YouTube. I can't tell it. It's making me stressful. Haru-san. I suppose what matters is that we keep our eyes open and keep moving forward, even if the way sometimes seems dark. It's amazing to think it's been just 2 months. You've grown so much. Sorry? I've what? Oh no, it was nothing. Unimportant. Tomatoes de Pacha. Do you know what time you'll leave London in the morning? Yes. I picked up my ticket earlier. I shall be leaving here at 4 a.m. I see. Well, I'll escort you to the station. It's live, but yesterday's title. What? What? Okay, give me a moment. The heck? Why? YouTube seems to be feeling dumb today. Alright, everything else is set. Why isn't it updating the game? Alright, let me do a Control F5 here. What the f- God damn it. YouTube, why the f are you doing this? I did a Control F5 and it was showing and it showed yesterday's game. I am so thoroughly confused. YouTube is breaking stuff. Should I be surprised that all right, go on ahead and do a quick refresh for me, Pokey, and check to see if it's correct now. I see. Well, I'll escort you to the station. Absolutely not. Sorry? I'm sure you realize why I couldn't possibly let you do that. You have a very important day ahead of you tomorrow. Gina's trial. Yes, I know, but every word you utter will have to have the potential to determine Gina's fate. You must get as much rest as possible. Even though... Alright, thanks, Pokey. Even though, like me, I'm sure you will find it hard to sleep. But please, for me, do try. Did you like the stream, Pokey? I need to do a better job of saying like and subscribe, despite the fact that it is complete antithesis of who I am. You mentioned one final task? Oh my! I nearly forgot! Please, I want you to have this. What is that? Some huge bundle of documents. It's my notes from the case 2 months ago. The murder that was committed on the omnibus. The McGilded case. It seems that to me that this case of Mr. Windibank's murder, of which Gina is accused, is very much tied up with that omnibus case in ways that are not yet completely apparent. So I took the liberty of consolidating my writings about the case for you. With everything else she had to think about, Susato-san still managed to do this, and all neatly laid out for me in her beautiful handwriting. It was my pleasure. I can only hope that it will bolster your case tomorrow. For Gina. Thank you so much, Susato-san. I'll do my best to use it wisely. You really are the best judicial assistant in the world. Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure. What? Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. What you said there. Oh, ignore me. I was just mumbling to myself. The McGilded case notes have been entered into the court record. Okay, hold on. Let's take a look at the McGilded case notes. Case summary. Victim found deceased on the last scheduled omnibus, the day after a stab wound to the abdomen. That doesn't make sense. Details of the victim. Mason Milverton, male, brickmaker. East End of London. Trial summary. Defendant Magnus McGilded. Prosecuting attorney, Lord Beric van Zieks. I know it's, or Zykes, excuse me, Lord Van Zieks. I say Zykes because I think they're going for a rhyme of yikes, but they spelled it Zeeks. Defense attorney, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Conviction was assured with 3 eyewitness testimonies. However, a surprise 4th witness testimony resulted in acquittal due to insufficient evidence. Well, it's getting rather late. I think you should go to bed now, Mr. Naruhodo-san. I must finish packing my things in the room. What does? What does, Pokey? Susato-san, I wish you the very best of luck tomorrow. Good night. Wait. There's something I need to say. What was that for? A secret technique of mine. The Susato shutdown. Shutdown? Please, I implore you. If we have to voice our goodbyes, I won't be able to hold back my tears. You said the first sentence in the case file doesn't make sense, but it does. Victim found deceased on the last scheduled omnibus of the day after the stab wound. Oh, after a stab wound. Oh. If I had trouble with that sentence, this is going to be a long day, I think. Susato-san. It truly had been a trying day. On our feet for hours, getting Gina to open up to us, and learning the truth about that nemesis of a case. Physically and mentally, I was exhausted, and yet the idea of sleep seemed impossible. But I forced myself to close my eyes, and as a cacophony of scenes of our lives here in London played through my mind, eventually, my fatigue triumphed, and I fell into a deep sleep. "17th of April. The small hours. St. Sinners Hospital, Ward 3. Yes, I quite understand. That is a great weight off my mind. What is going on here? Rest assured, I shall put everything in place exactly as we have discussed. Thank you so much. It has been an honor and a pleasure to be acquainted with you, Mr. Sholmes. On the contrary, the pleasure has been mine. I bid you farewell, and Godspeed. My dear madam. To be continued. I guess I could have gone a little bit longer last time. And then we'd actually be getting into the case, but oh well. Then we would actually start right away into the case, I should say. Alright, I need to lean back a little bit. There we go. I already saved. Well, just in case I didn't. When I woke up the following morning, Susato-san was already gone. Outside the window, the rain came down in sheets. And so began an even longer day than the last, one that I would remember for the rest of my days. 17th of April, 9:32 a.m. The Old Bailey. Defendant's lobby, defendant's antechamber. Good morning, Gina. I'm determined to prove your innocence today. I'm sure we can do it. So where's your friend? Why isn't she Irish suddenly? So where's your friend? Sorry. You know, her in the fancy dress. Susato or whatever, however you say it. I don't know. Ah, Miss Susato. Had to leave early this morning. She was already gone by the time I woke up. You alright with that, are you? Forget about me if you like. Go and see her off. It's fine. It's not as though Miss Susato and I won't meet again one day. Even so, I for whatever reason cannot find my Cockney today. But you, Gina, you only get one chance. This trial today is all we have. Good morning, you two. Oh, good morning, you two. How are you feeling, Jenny? Did you manage to sleep? Kitty! Artist, what are you doing here? What do you mean? When a friend is in need, we show our support. Isn't that right, Waggy? Waggy! Great way to show your support, kitty. Let him have a nose around. What arm can it do? You'd be surprised. Oh, that reminds me. I bought a paper on the way here. Now, would you like the good news or the bad news? What do you say, Bruno? Jenny? Oh, well, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Van Zykes is back. Now, always take the good news first. You might not live to hear the bad. Yes, that question always gives away people's personalities. Let's not go there. All right, then, I'll give you the bad news first. A record amount of rain has fallen this morning, and carriages all over the capital are struggling to move. Huh? The bad news was a weather report? So I hope that Susie made her train to Dover, and that the train isn't delayed on its way to the port. Gosh, yes! Alright then, so what's the good news? Well, the rain is forecast to subside this afternoon. So even if the train is delayed, it should be able to make up the time later. Well, that is good news, isn't it? I couldn't give a monkey's, really. If only all the good news canceled out the bad. And look, the trial has made the headlines too. Pawnbroker perishes in pick purse plunder. See? How do you like that? Well, let them say what they want. See if I care. I can't, because you're covering your face, because you care. Don't worry, Runo will show everyone that this headline is nonsense. I will? And then tomorrow's papers, the headline will be, Discharged diver is dauntless do-gooder. Isn't that right, Bruno? Oh, yes. Let's hope so. Of course they will. I have absolute faith in you. I have faith in Ryunosuke. I don't have faith in the newspapers. Now, what's that? I was trying to sound like Susie. Did it work? Did it? It's like she was still here. Today's paper has been entered into the court record. Good luck then, Runo. I'll do what I can. I'll do what I can. Oh, good luck, Runo. I'll do what I can. Obviously, I don't know the law like Susie does, but still. I'll be by your side the whole time, giving you moral supporting encouragement. I'm not sure that big thing is as comforting as you think it is, but to be honest, but thank you, Iris. That's very kind of you. Oh yeah, Iris. Yes, Jenny? Yes, Jenny? Well, I was wondering is all about Sholmes. Did they fix him up all right? Yes. The operation was a great success, but Hurley still hasn't come around yet. Eh? Alright, let me take a look at what we have in our court record. So we have the pawnbroker ticket, Gina's representation papers, blood sample portfolio, the pawnbroker's ticket for the coat, Iris's story manuscript, the McGilded case notes, and the newspaper. Should take a look at that. Pawnbroker perishes in pick-purse splendor. How awful for Jenny. I mean. But tomorrow's headline will be discharged driver is Dauntless do-gooder, right? Yes, something like that. If possible, I'd like to go even bigger. Bigger? How? Proud pickpocket protects Planet Post trial. Perhaps. Protects planet? Oh. Can't wait for tomorrow now. It's going to be so great. Is there anything else? I can't find anything here. Okay, that's all that's there. So we don't have the bullet, and we don't have the bullet in the calendar. We don't have the blood in the calendar. Let me see. Kazuma Osagi. Let's see. Unknown. Thrice fired. Windabank. So this could either be Holmes's blood or the blood of one of the two guys that entered. I've asked a friend of mine from Scotland. I've asked a friend of mine at Scotland Yard to send a telegram as soon as he wakes up. I'm sure Gregson will let us know the moment there's news. All right. No Susato-san, no Mr. Sholmes. It's all down to me today to prove that Gina is innocent of this crime. Miss Gina Lestrade, counsel for the defense. The trial is about to begin. Please make your way to the courtroom. Seasoned streamer suspects something sussy in stream settings. More like seasoned streamer forgets to set stream settings. It's time then. Yes, let's go, Gina, Iris. Lead the way, Bruno. Poor Gina. She's trying to put on a brave face, but I can tell she's worried and scared. I have to believe in her from the start to finish. That's the weapon that will secure our victory. If I learn anything from my great friend, it's that. And if Ryu learned anything from your great friend, it's how to rock a bandana. '17th April, 10 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. This trial shall determine the guilt or innocence of Miss Gina Lestrade. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready. Lord Van Zykes, my lord, remind me, how many years ago was it that you withdrew from the public prosecution service? It was some 5 years ago, my lord. Yes, and then 2 months ago you resurfaced somewhat unexpectedly. And here you are again today. Is there some circumstances of which the court should be aware that have led to this erratic behavior? In what one might describe as your former life 5 years past? You dealt exclusively in matters that concerned with the highest echelons of society and government. Really? Yet today you choose to try a simple case of burglary and murder. I confess I find it more than a little befuddling, counsel. There are two types of person I cannot abide. Firstly, those wealthy scoundrels who hide behind a mask of philanthropy to cheat the public at large. He means McGilded, who you defended against the Reaper 2 months ago. Yes, I just about managed to work that out. Thank you. Magnus McGilded. If I'd known what a monster he was, I never would have defended him. And secondly, even more loathsome, those wily scoundrels who masquerade as allies only to effect total betrayal in the final hour. In other words, the confidence tricksters from those tiny islands in the Far East. The Nipponese. What? Did he really just say that? He means you now, Runo. I actually managed to work that out too. Thank you, Iris. Total betrayal? What are you talking about? That torrid look of hatred in Lord Van Zyk's eyes. Was that directed solely at me? Or was he talking about all Japanese people? An alarmingly scathing explanation, Lord Van Zykes. Still, the judiciary welcomes the return of the so-called Reaper of the Bailey, feared by all London's malefactors. Your lordship is too kind. Now, jurors, the 6 of you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. So the old man is a doctor now? She now operates... And she now operates a telegraph. We have the Russian terrorist. The only one I don't recognize, and mayhap I should, is the guy in the middle. Or the blonde guy. Former lieutenant in the British Army here. Don't you know, chaps? Like me, were born ready. Clean crockery and clean cutlery and a clean conscience. His lordship's motto is very appropriate here, I think. Everything will be stereoscopic in the future. Absolutely, absolutely everything. I'm ready for it, and I'm ready for it. I don't understand. I can't have left in there. It's not possible. But could I have? Women indispensable in society. Stop. Female-centric future awaits. Stop. Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. First of all, and honestly, I don't think the Russian could be selected for jury duty because he's not a British citizen. Is something wrong, Runo? No, not exactly. It's just... I'm fairly sure I recognize these jurors. Almost all of them, in fact. Really? Funny coincidences like that do happen from time to time, don't they? But it is quite strange. The jurors are chosen at random from London's 6 million inhabitants, you know. So I've been led to believe, but something tells me I'm being duped. Whoops. So I've been led to believe, but something tells me I'm being duped. Very well. Now, Lord Van Zykes. The court calls upon the prosecution to introduce the facts of the case. As you wish, my lord. My Russian is very bad. Oh, Wessel, I am visiting. I applied a German accent to the W. I should not have. I just stopped back to Star Trek. Is it Star Trek 2? No, Star Trek 3. Gosh darn it, now I can't remember. Now I gotta look it up. Voyage Home. Which one is Voyage Home? Is that 4? 4. Star Trek 4, Voyage Home. 3 is The Search for Spock. 2 is Wrath of Khan. 1 is the motion picture. Let's see. I think Star Trek 6 was Undiscovered Country. I don't remember what 5 was. Allow me to begin with a word of warning to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. In short, there has never been a more self-evident case of cold-blooded murder. Really? The victim, Mr. Pop Windabank, proprietor of a pawn shop on Baker Street, was shot from behind and died instantly. The prosecution presents this photographic print of the crime scene. The court will observe there is a single bullet wound just below the gentleman's left shoulder. The evidence suggests that the bullet pierced the man's heart, resulting in near instant death. Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner. His report states that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. Are you really that dense, Soryonosuke? A rising diagonal entry implies, at least they're going to say it implies, and one of the two perpetrators, one of the two robbers, was actually short, so it works, that the shooter was shorter than the victim. Now, that being said, depending on how the shot was carried out, even if the shooter was the same height as the victim, you would still technically have a rising. You could still technically have a rising shot. If it was shot from the waist, you would have to aim up to achieve the same goal. It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Someone like the accused, you might say. The prosecution wishes to present the autopsy report and crime scene photograph as evidence, my lord. Indeed, the court accepts. Hand them to the bailiff, please. The autopsy report has been entered into the court record. The crime scene photograph has been entered into the court record. I now ask the court to turn its attention to the plan of the establishment where the incident occurred. The proprietor was found in the storeroom where he kept articles pawned to him. A windowless room with a single point of entry, a door to the main shop that was found locked. In this sealed chamber, there were only two persons present. The victim, Mr. Windabank, and the accused. It may further interest the court to know that when the accused was discovered at the scene, she had in her hand the gun used to fire the fatal bullet. Do you have evidence of that, or is this speculation? Well, that's that then, isn't it? Nothing more to say. Isn't that grubby little girl the pickpocket anyways? She's one of those filthy drabs that live in the slums on the east side. Oh well, it was only a matter of time before she got blood on her hands. What are the jurors waiting for? Alright, let's take a look at the history because I want to see. Oh well, it was only a matter of time before she got blood on her hands then. What are the jurors waiting for? The girl's guilty as hell. We can't jump to conclusions here. We mustn't assume her guilt because of what she has to do to survive. My learned Nipponese friend. It is you who mustn't jump to conclusions. The prosecution has barely begun presenting its case. Conveniently, the appalling act of murder did not go unobserved. There were witnesses. Good gracious! After their testimony, the girl's true nature will be exposed. Pitiful pick-purse or cold-hearted killer. Here's to establishing the truth. The court will take the floor plan of the firearm into evidence. Hand them to the bailiff, please, Lord Van Zykes. At once, my lord. The crime scene floor plan has been entered into the court record. Windabank's revolver has been entered into the court record. This isn't good. I feel like the mood here has turned very gloomy all of a sudden, Runo. I think that's because it has. Alright, let's take a look at our new evidence. Details of the victim. Pop Windabank, male, pawnbroker on Baker Street. Time of death, April 16th of April, 1 to 1:30 a.m. Reporting party, Ryonosuke Naruhodo. Post-mortem findings. Single bullet wound in upper half of victim's back. No other visible trauma. Autopsy finding. Instant death from postero-anterior bullet wound to the heart. The bullet entered the body from the back and on a gently rising trajectory. Gently rising. That implies to me that the shooter was only slightly shorter than Windabank, rather than Gina, who is significantly shorter than Windabank. Yeah. This is Mr. Windabank's gun. The cylinder is completely empty. Windabank always used to keep this gun on hand on his shop counter. Yes, but only ever with a single bullet loaded, I understand. That's right, to keep all the pawn articles that were in his care safe. But his one bullet was fired that night, and the poor man lost his life. Was he protecting his shop, I wonder? Trying to keep the articles safe? I'd like to actually open. Let's see. Even in a video game, it's hard for me to You're never supposed to look down the barrel of a gun. I don't see anything else here. All right. All right. Let us begin. Bring forth the witnesses to the foul murder of Mr. Pop Windabank on 16th of April this year. Oh, he's there because they're in custody. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. Nash Gulkin. Occupation is baddie, professional baddie. Name's Ringo Skulkin. Occupation's same as him. Tobias Gregson, Scotland Yard Inspector. That's right, we're what they call the Three Skulkin Brothers. What are you looking at me like that for? Don't lump me in with you lot. Cold blimey, that's cold. Don't you know what we're going for? It's our older bruv. Lost contact with them, we have. So we're scouring every shady corner of the capital. And last night we came across you. The very spit of the bloke. Ain't that right, Ringo? He is, Nash, he is. The very spit of him. So we've decided there and then what we's gonna do. What we was gonna do. We was gonna call you Big Bruv Sulky. Go on, come on, leave it out, you two. Sulky Skulkin? And that's before he's run out of chips. Well then, Inspector Sulky Gregson. Pear in Japanese is Nashi. Apple in Japanese is Ringo. And none of them are Star. Begging your pardon, my lord, but the name's Tobias. What I would like to know, Inspector, is what you are doing in the witness stand. The Skulkin brothers are currently under arrest, my lord, of suspicion of theft. Thieves, are they? These three? No, my lord. Begging your pardon, but please don't lump me in with this lot. 2 nights ago, these 2 brothers illegally entered an establishment with intent to burgle. God dang it. 2 nights ago, these 2 brothers entered an establishment with the intent to burgle. And in the course of their nefarious activities, they became embroiled in a far more sinister crime. By Jove, you mean to say, what an extraordinary coincidence. I don't think there's anything coincidental about it. Indeed, my lord. While attempting to burglarize the pawnbrokery, they witnessed the proprietor's murder. Okay. How, pray tell, did they witness the murder? If it was a locked room mystery, how could they have witnessed the murder? They wouldn't have been able to see it through the tiny door. Not both of them anyways, especially him, who is surprisingly short. Gee, go figure. You don't think he could have shot him, do you? Order! Order! The various trespasses of these brothers is not the subject of today's proceedings, though they will naturally face trial in the very near future. With your lordship's permission, I'd like to remain in the stand to keep these gents on the straight and narrow. Of course, Inspector. Skeptical as I am about the caliber of these witnesses, I will permit them to take the stand. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you will now testify before the court. Describe the events in question of the night. Describe the events of the night in question and what exactly you saw. Happy to, because Skulkin's never skulkin'. Get out of it. Witness testimony. Illegal entry. We was walking down Baker Street in the small hours and the gaff's door was ajar, see? It was like some kind of sign begging for us to go in, it was. But once we got inside, cool blimey lummy, we heard a gunshot from the back room. We went to see what was what, but the door was locked from the inside. We never done nothing, Governor. We never took nothing. We never left after. We just left after that, nice and quiet. A terrible coincidence, it would seem. What of the bullet that hit Mr. Sholmes? At the precise moment these miscreants entered the property, an even more sinister crime was afoot. You sure about that, Judge? Are you sure that they weren't the crime that was afoot? Both of them? The witness testimony is consistent with the crime scene in every detail. That couldn't possibly be because of the fact that they're the ones that set it up, right? The door providing access to the storeroom from the main shop was indeed locked from inside. And with only the victim and the accused were, and within only the victim and the accused were found. I must say, it does appear to be an overwhelmingly simple case. Still, the defense may cross-examine the witnesses now. Of course, counsel, if you please. Counsel? Yes. What's the matter, Runo? Sorry, I was just stunned into silence for a minute by the blatant lies being told by that pair in the stand. I know it's all nonsense because I saw it with my own eyes. I'll just have to expose their testimony for the pack of lies it is. Good luck. All right. Up. Hold it! Time to do a bunch of pressing. The front door of Windibanks was ajar, you say? What time of night was this? It must have been about 1, right, Ringo? Yeah, I'd say so. Right, Sulky? How would I know? The place would have been shut at 1 in the morning, just like every other shop in town. Well, it was pitch black inside, it's true. Ain't that right, Ringo? I'm not so sure, Nash. I seem to remember a little light burning inside. What about you, Sulky? Me old mucker? Leave me alone. There definitely was a small lamp burning inside. That's what alerted us to the situation in the first place. And when these gentlemen entered into the establishment, the accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, already had the muzzle of her gun trained on the unfortunate victim. Objection. That is pure conjecture. Ha. Perhaps. But it changes nothing. These brothers inadvertently wandered into the middle of a cold-blooded murder. Simply because they found the door of the victim's establishment open and ventured inside. Right, that's what happened. Hold it! What are you trying to suggest? That you had to go in? Well, God moves in mysterious ways, I say, don't it? Don't they, Ringo? They do, Nash, they do. Must have been some sort of providence, I reckon. God's will often presents itself as the whim of thieves, doesn't it? It weren't no whim, I'm dead sure of that. It weren't, Nash, it weren't. Like we said at the time. You don't just find doors open in the middle of the night like that, nah. There's no two ways about it. It was a sign that our long-lost brother was inside. Ay, ay, ay. They're not very good liars, are they? No. Sorry for the wrapper. It will be over shortly, I promise. Well, you can't deny it. It led us to a bloke that what looks like our old bruv. I said, cut it out. Those chips are getting a chomping today. All right, I need to do a quick BRB. I'm sorry. Give me a few minutes. I appreciate everybody's patience. All right, I'm back, and I appreciate everybody's patience. I got some food.
Hold it!
A gunshot, you say? Just the one? Are you sure about that? Yeah, just the one, Governor. I can swear to that. It was, Nash, it was. Ain't that right, bruv? The firearm used belonged to the victim himself. Yes, Mr. Windibank always used to leave his gun lying around on the counter. Right, I remember. When we examined it, we found that the revolver was completely out of rounds. That makes sense. Mr. Windibank always used to say he only ever kept a single bullet loaded. That's true. I remember him saying that as well. So we can say with considerable certainty that only a single round was discharged from the firearm used as the murder weapon. Yes, my lord, we can. And I shall remind the court that the weapon was found in the accused's hands. The firearm in question was discovered in the hand of the accused. Wonderful. But that wasn't the only shot that rang out. Let me double check. A gunshot, you say? Just the one. Are you sure about that? The question wasn't about the source of the discharge. The question was about the quantity. Why is everybody ignoring the fact that Sholmes got shot? Plus, you have the bullet lodged in the calendar. Come on! Maybe. All right.
Objection.
That's why I figured. Yes, there is something odd about that statement. But the game says no, you can't use that. Despite the fact that...
Hold it!
Do you mean the door? No, it's hard. It's odd that they heard a single gunshot, considering they were there when Sholmes was shot. Hold it. A gunshot, you say? Just the one. Are you sure about that? Just the one. Yep, just the one. We heard a gunshot. Granted, that's from the back. That's from the back room. Do you mean the door between the main shop and the storeroom? If my learned friend is having difficulty grasping the situation, perhaps a drawing would help. Excluding the entrance from the street, there is only one other door, that of the storeroom. Of course, there was only a little oil lamp burning, not much to see by, and the door was hidden behind a curtain and all. That's right. When we arrived, the door was mostly obscured by the curtain. Tell me, why exactly did you try to open that door? Eh? Any normal petty thief would run out at the sound of a gunshot, I should think. Oh, well, your turn to rabbit, Ringo. Well, Nash, yeah. I suppose you'd have to say we ain't normal, eh? Broadly speaking, humans respond in one of two ways on hearing a gunshot or scream. The timid flee, gripped with fear, while the courageous investigate to see what they might help, if they might help. If they're petty thieves, do you think they're gonna try to help? Yes, that's why when Holmes was shot, he ran away rather than trying to help Sholmes. What is this blatant character assassination? I did read that out loud, right? Only out loud in your head. These gentlemen are of the latter inclination, my learned Nipponi's friend. It would seem is of the former. Alright, somehow I just proved I was a coward that night. No. Thank you, counsels. So, I believe we understand that the door was locked and could not be opened. Proceed, witnesses. Oopsie. I was just trying to make it the active window, so I could use the spacebar. Oops. What do you think of this pair, Runo? I think they're lying through their teeth. That's what I think. I'm going to prove it. What is it, Iris? Well, I'm not really sure. There's just something a bit funny about that prosecutor over there. Hmm? Wait, could this... Whoops. Wait, could this be... Oops. Wait, could this testimony be some sort of trap?
Hold it!
You didn't do or take anything. Is that your story? Well, it was bedlam as soon as, weren't it? It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out of me Lucy lockets. What? Okay. So with no time to take your hands out of your pockets, you just left nice and quiet, you say? That's right, Governor. Nothing we ate more than violence. Peace-loving nibblers we are, not burglars. We are, Nash, we are. Never even pulled me dukes out of me Lucy lockets. So, you'd clearly like us to believe. Eh? Come again? As you fled from the pawnbrokers that night, did you not run into anyone else? And did you not fire a gun at that person? Saints alive, they fired a gun, you say? Ah! Blimey, Governor. You ain't telling us it was you in the doorway. It was. Why the bleeding Nora? Didn't you mention that before? You were armed with a gun. As you fled the scene, you fired that gun. At London's greatest detectives, Sherlock Sholmes. They shot the great Mr. Sholmes? I did hear that, actually. There was a rumor he'd been rushed to the hospital. The great Sholmes? That's beyond the pale. On the night in question, this pair were arrested by the police within minutes of the discovery of the crime scene. Their suspicious countenance rapidly gave them away. And when searched, a firearm was indeed found in their possession. Furthermore, the barrel shows signs of a shot having been fired from it. The prosecution invites his lordship to examine the firearm recovered from these brothers. Yes, indeed, remnants of powder around the muzzle, as you say, Counselor. The court will hold this weapon as evidence. The Skulkin brothers' gun has been entered into the court record. Now, my learned Nipponi's friend. Seriously? So, the ammunition still loaded in 5 of this revolver's 6 cylinders. Yes, which tell us that only a single shot has been fired from it. Exactly. The bullet hit Hurley, in fact, isn't it? Yes. It happened almost as soon as we walked in through Windabank's door. I'll make those brothers pay. I'll make those brothers pay. Is there anything else odd about this firearm? I am annoyed. Now I look at this. I don't see evidence of this being discharged. And nobody has commented on the fact that there is evidence that this was discharged, other than the fact that there's an empty case. Or that there's a... Like, I can't... They don't give me the ability to open the drum. And I have no way to tell the caliber of this weapon versus Windabank's. So I need to get additional information. Now, my learned Nipponese friend. Yes? Here's to you successfully presenting the evidence. Or yes, there are telltale signs of spent powder on this gun, and a single bullet missing from the cylinder. But the prosecution demands evidence that it was fired at the scene of the crime under scrutiny in this trial.
Objection.
Well, I don't need evidence, because I was there.
Objection.
However, the rest of us in this courtroom were not. If the defense fails to provide evidence to support its rash claim, we shall have no choice but to toast your incompetence and move on. Evidence that these two fired that gun before they left Windabanks that night. The court demands that all claims are affirmed with clear proof. What evidence shows that these witnesses unloaded the firearm that night?
Take that.
The evidence is in this portfolio. What? What on earth have you there, counsel? During the course of our investigation, we discovered a number of bloodstains. I'm not thrusting the police to do their job, the job they're trained to do. How arrogantly Nipponese of you. Well, anyway, we analyzed all the blood samples we found and recorded the results in this portfolio. And you claim to have the evidence the court is demanding therein. Yes, my lord. No more dallying then, counsel. Present the pertinent evidence at once. What do you have in your portfolio that proves these witnesses unloaded the firearm at the scene?
Take that.
What is that? Explain. It is a photographic print taken at Windabank's pawnbrokery on the day of the incident. From the scene of the crime, is it? Is that a bullet hole? And if my eyes do not deceive me, it appears the bullet is still lodged there. Yes, as your lordship noticed. The bullet pierced Mr. Windabank's calendar. The date shown being the 16th of April, the very day of the pawnbroker's death. The incident occurred at 1 hour after midnight, but this indicates that a separate shot had been fired sometime after the calendar had been set to the 16th. That's right. And while it isn't irrefutable, the defense believes this is credible evidence that the witnesses did fire a round from their gun in the pawnbrokers that night. Yeah. Order, order! How does the prosecution stand, Lord Van Zykes? Yes. How good of a job did the police do, Zykes? If that is the direction my learned friend wishes to take, the prosecution has no objection. What? But you'll forgive me for flinging my hollowed chalice aside in disgust at the repugnancy it exposes. Yes, on the night in question, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery illegally. And like the bold baddies they claim to be, opened fire on the new arrivals before fleeing back into the street. So what you're saying, Zykes, is you were deliberately withholding evidence. You were deliberately withholding evidence with the intention of falsification. Take it easy there, governor. You're gonna land us in the soup. We had a deal. You weren't gonna get into them details. Tell him, Sulky. Set the bloke straight. I have nothing to add. So he knew, did he? Van Zykes knew their testimony would almost certainly expose the extent of their crimes. It would seem now that I owe my learned Nipponese friend a word of gratitude. What do you mean? What I mean is that you have helpfully confirmed an important fact. To what fact do you refer, Lord Van Zykes? As has been established, at the point of their arrest, a single shot had been fired from the brothers' gun. However, if that shot found its target in Mr. Sholmes, then clearly these witnesses cannot be accused of the fatal shooting of the proprietor and victim. Not true, because they could have used the gun. Like, why would Gina have been unconscious at the scene? Woo! In other words, these two men have no material connection to the murder of Mr. Windibank at all. Disagree. I'm gonna try something here. No. Come on, rotate. I'm trying to recenter myself. That's better. And I can actually do more. Although it's funny because my camera is now like 1.5 inches that way. So that's it. That's it. We didn't have nothing to do with it. We didn't, Nash. We didn't. That's what I reckon. Your crimes include unlawful injury, intent to steal, perjury, and, let us not forget, attempted murder. Quite a catalog, eh, fellas? We're in for it now, bruv. Now then, let us take a moment to consider the aforementioned great detective, Mr. Erlock Sholmes. It would seem the man patronized the pawnbrokers in question somewhat regularly. Where is he going with this? Mr. Sholmes appears to take pleasure in tinkering with eccentric machinery. Eccentric, says who? Not me, don't give me that look. He installed a pair of machines like this one in the victim's shop. Oh, that's one of Hurley's red-handed recorders. What is that, Counsel? It has the appearance of a photographic contraption. As your lordship has surmised, it is indeed a camera attached to a small timing device. Every half hour, it automatically photographs the interior of the establishment. The idea being that if a thief were to break into the shop, he would get caught red-handed. The prosecution has obtained the photographs taken by the device on the night in question. That's a lot more than one night's worth of photographs. It only takes 48 a day. Why is... There. 8:30, 9:30. As the court will observe, copious identical prints are produced in quite desultory fashion. Rather prodigal, I feel. In fact, there are 2 such devices in the victim's shop, my lord. I may refer the court to the floor plan of the premises. Their respective positions are here and here. You say these cameras produce a print every half hour. I'm afraid I fail to see. Okay, so that's 96. Still, way more than what was in that stack. Or way less than what was in that stack. Excuse me. How that would help if the anticipated theft conducted his thief in... Okay, hold on. You say these cameras produce a print every half hour. I'm afraid I fail to see how that would help if the anticipated thief conducted his activities in one of the many 30-minute intervals. One can only pray that the would-be criminal lingers, my lord. On the night in question, the witnesses currently in the stand are not caught on camera. That's a bit of raw talk, eh, bruv? Lady Luck loves a skulkin'. Witnesses, at what time did your trespass begin? Oops, that's the wrong button. I am so sorry you had to hear that, everybody. My nose is very annoying. Eh? Must have been just after 1, right, bruv? Must have been, Nash. Must have been, yeah. Just gone 1. In which case, minutes before these brothers entered the establishment. What scene might we expect to see within the shop? Let us examine the evidence. Good lord. It's the defendant. Miss Gina Lestrade. As the court can clearly see. The accused is pictured, gun in hand, facing the victim, over the shop counter, no doubt coercing the proprietor to open the door to his storeroom. Quite. One can only too easily imagine the events that unfolded. And that's the problem, you're imagining. The court will take this photographic print as evidence, if you please, counsel. The photograph of Gina has been added to the court, has been entered into the court record. All right, let's just examine it. Dog. Kitty. (1 a.m.) I mean, if I look at this, it seems to me like there actually wouldn't be that much of an angle at all. It actually looks to me like the trajectory of the bullet going through Windibank would actually be flat. Wouldn't you agree? Ugh. I don't believe it. Ginny! In short, the accused is the only person who could have possibly killed Mr. Windibank. Then why was she unconscious on the floor? Can somebody answer that question, please? I say, my lord. Wonder if I might put in a word at this point. Go ahead, Mr. Foreman. Took the Bali bullet to the knee in the Battle of Maiwand in 1880. Don't you know? Decorated for that and all. Decorated for it and all that. But forced to retire from service, sadly. Of course, a medal can never outshine the exploits of chaps like us on the battlefield. Yes, Mr. Foreman, and what exactly is your point? Carried on the battle after retirement, you see, the battle of daily life, if you like. And here I am now, leading the small squadron of 6 men, all good and true. And we'll all go down together, you mark my words, one for all and all for one. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury has reached an agreement, have they? Is that what we are to understand? Well, Mr. Foreman, is that correct? In a manner of speaking, yes. That is the Garadeb Squadron's position, sir. What? No, it's too soon to make a judgment here. Status report of the court, men. On the double. His lordship insists on promptitude at all times, and that goes for making decisions, too. I think you'll find the truth is quite clear as day now. I could reach out and touch it. I wouldn't have left it in there. I just wouldn't. But in all honesty, I can't actually remember. Situation clear. Stop. No room for doubt. Stop. Truth now undeniable. Stop. I am very sorry for brothers. They are unlucky. Very well. I now call upon each member of the jury to state his or her leaning in this matter. Announce your considered verdicts to the court.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Yeah. Big surprise, that. It does indeed appear that the jury is unanimous in its leaning already. That photograph. It must be the definitive evidence that Gregson mentioned. But Ginny didn't shoot him. No, of course not. My lord, the defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination. Very well, the court grants permission. So, you refuse to admit defeat. Again, how unsurprising. We shall proceed immediately with the summation examination. Mr. Foreman, are all members of the jury ready? Absolutely, sir. Always ready for action, my chaps. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty. Judicial findings. The jurors' contentions. All the evidence clearly points the finger of the guilt at this young pickpocketing. Sorry about that. As a housemaid, I should like to see all filthy eyesores promptly and rigorously eliminated. I think you'll find that looking at that photograph in stereo, it truly will just pop. The truth will just pop. Pop or pop out? Pop out. If I left it in there, I should think there will be repercussions by now. Mind made up. Stop. Global radio transmission of verdict to follow. Stop. In motherland vessel. In motherland, we have saying, never judge by clothes, judge by head. I am convinced brothers are innocent. The circumstances of the crime and evidence do indeed implicate the defendant rather comprehensively. The storeroom, locked from the inside, in which the victim and the accused were discovered alone. And in the accused's hand, the fatal revolver, the firing of which was heard by these witnesses. Which they also would have heard if they were the ones to fire it, but you know. Not to mention this print. Taken from the chap who's seen action on the battle. Take it from a chap who's seen action on a battle. That young girl's on the verge of pulling that bally trigger. That young girl doesn't know proper trigger control, yes. But neither do you. Thanks a lot, Mr. Sholmes. Oh dear, Hurley's cameras were supposed to help, not hinder. I'm afraid I think you have an uphill struggle ahead of you. But Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windibank. Which means there's more to the situation that we have yet to see. Agreed. You have the floor, counsel. Proceed with the summation examination. All right, the re-examination. Let's take a look at the court record again. We have that. We have this. We have that. We have that. I'm worried. Number 4 first, please. I'm worried. I'm worried too, Pokey. Like, why is he why is he dressed as a doctor?
Hold it!
What exactly have you been muttering about all this time, sir? You keep talking about having left something somewhere or something like that. Ah, so sorry. As you can probably tell, I'm a surgeon. A surgeon? That totally passed me by. Of course, people conducting surgery in this country are considered to be doctors. Oh no. Even though me and my kin are at the forefront of medical science, the real brains in the field. So, what is it you think you left behind? Ah, well, that's a little embarrassing to be honest. You see, I was operating on someone yesterday. The standard thing went in through the abdomen. But when I'd finished the procedure, I couldn't find my scalpel anywhere. I am assuming that this is the guy that operated on Sholmes, and he left his scalpel in Sholmes. What? Did he? Surely not. Exactly, surely not. As you said say to yourself. Don't you? Worrying, isn't it? That's what's been troubling me this whole time. Could I really have left my scalpel inside the fellow's belly? No, of course I couldn't. So, there you have it. Like I said, a little embarrassing, really. That's one way of putting it. The other is manslaughter. That's exactly my concern, seeing as this case appears to be all sewn up. But I need to focus on trying to remember exactly what I've sewn up elsewhere. Now, I'm sure I made sure everything was back as it should be. Well, as sure as you can be without being sure. I'm sure you need to be more sure.
Hold it!
Please tell me you're not Violin Bolshevik. Violin Bolshevik, the Russian revolutionary. Revolutionary? Yeah. I believe there is such a rumor. It's just a rumor. As you'll see, I have unfortunate appearance. I look like vicious criminal. Your words, not mine. Just to want to point that out. People call me revolutionary, murderer, autocrat. And which glove fits? Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. Right, that didn't sound staged at all. You'll forgive me for having my doubts. To be treated like vicious criminal all the time. It is weary. It is very painful. People do not realize. I have much sympathies for these brothers. People say they are criminals only because of how they look. The Skulkin brothers? Yeah. Or da. I forget if it's actually pronounced. No, in Russian it's ya, in German it's ya, in Russian it's da. Sorry. Maybe they went inside pawnbroker shop. But they have done nothing wrong. That is all I want to say. The Skulkin brothers did nothing wrong that night. Alright, well, first of all, that's one not so little misunderstanding I'll need to clear up straight away. Whoops, straight away. Tell me something, Iris. What is it, Runo? The jurors are chosen at random from the inhabitants of London town, aren't they? Yes, it's amazing, isn't it? In that case, how is it that there is a Russian tourist sitting among them who looks for all the world like a revolutionary? I wish I knew. If I can't change the minds of more than half these 6 jurors, the trial will be over. But we know that Ginny would never shoot anyone. Yes, so we need to find a contradiction in what these jurors are saying and pit them against one another. I must be ready to go whatever lengths I have to convince them of Gina's innocence.
Hold it!
You're Mr. Natsume's landlord, Mr. Garadeb, aren't you? We really must stop meeting like this. Oh, you're that lawyer chap. Well, there's a turn-up for you for the books. Yes, rather turbulent time we had back then. Some extraordinary events took place at your house, that's for sure. Luckily, Mr. Sholmes and I were able to get to the bottom of it all. I think we did rather a lot for you, didn't we? I mean, obviously, I wouldn't be suggesting that therefore you should turn your leaning not guilty or anything. Jury tampering. Can't be denied, I suppose. The curse of the Garadeb house was the talk of the town after that business. Lodgers moved out and I couldn't get a bally soul to take up the tenancy. Oh. Haven't had the heart to break the news to Joni yet. Bad enough that the old girl's clapped up. Yes, can't be denied. You did rather a lot. But not for us, that's for dash certain. I suppose not. Of course, there can be no suggesting of that being the reason I'm leaning towards guilty here, obviously. But honestly, I really wish he'd pay more attention to the trial and less to juror number 2. I don't see him paying a lot of attention to juror number 2. Oh, never mind. Watch his eyes.
Hold it!
Polishing the bench, I see. Again. A maid's work is never done, not a blemish remains. What exactly do you mean by filthy eyesores? On my way to the market for his lordship, I have to pass through the East End. The place is full of beggars, pick-purses, crossmen, and the scum of the earth. A little harsh, perhaps. Let me be plain. If it were up to me, all those back slums would be made spick and span or eradicated. Or at least we have people like the great detectives working to achieve these important goals. You're referring to Mr. Herlock Sholmes? That's right. I like to keep abreast of his exploits by reading Ranced magazine in between my duties. He does wonders cleaning up London's streets. In my opinion, he should be declared an honorary maid of the capital. Mr. Sholmes, a maid. It's really quite unforgivable. Gutter scum having the audacity to shoot our very greatest detective. Minor detail, it was the 2 brothers in the stand who shot Mr. Sholmes, not the defendant. A minor detail indeed. They're all gutter scum as far as I'm concerned. Well, it just might be a good idea to get your facts straight anyway. Yes, all right. I shall amend my statement. Those brothers are the scum of the earth. They should swing for shooting the great detective.
Objection!
Those 2 statements clearly contradict one another. Good lord. Counsel, explain yourself. Oh my statement. Contradictory. Juror number 6, you've got the wrong end of the stick. I do not have stick. I have mouse. As juror number 2 said earlier, when the Skulkin brothers fled the scene of the night in question, they fired a shot from their revolver. Yes, they shot poor Mr. Sholmes in the abdomen, I understand. Surely you're not going to tell the court now that you didn't hear. Abdomen. Sir. Sorry. My English is still learning. You are telling the court you didn't hear. Forgive me, I did not hear. Ugh. Ah, here is word, abdomen. Part of a person's body containing the stomach and other vital organs. Is this what you mean? You should say in plain English, I am Russian, not native speaker. Who thought it was a good idea to let this man be on the jury again? So, you are telling me these brothers who look like criminals were lying? They said before we never done nothing, but truth is they shot detective? Duh. This is double negative. Yes, that's exactly right. No, don't hurt your mouse. The poor mouse. Lying is wrong, especially when lie is said by a person who looks like criminal. Coming from you, that seems surprisingly prejudiced. This means, when they said we never took nothing, maybe it was also a big fat lie. Is this true? Well, according to the police report, no stolen goods were found, so... Enough! I trust no one now. It's not the mouse's fault, though, sir. I must see with own eyes. I must investigate crime scene myself. I'm afraid that won't be Yes, it is, Bruno. Easily. Sorry. With the prints from Hurley's red-handed recorder. Ah. If you compare the print of that picture's Jenny with the next print from half an hour later, you'll be able to see straight away if anything was taken or not. Gooey, Mr. Prosecutor? Tut, tut. Calling on the prosecution in the middle of a summation examination of all times. The print showing the accused threatened the victim after she broke into the shop is this one. Following this, the victim and the accused moved to the storeroom. Meanwhile, the Skulkin brothers entered the shop and summarily heard a fatal gunshot ring out. Sadly, none of these events were captured on film. This is the print produced by the camera half an hour later, after the brothers' flight. So this was taken after Hurley was shot? As far as I can tell, nothing has been taken. What about on the other side of the pawn shop? That does seem to be the case. Whoops. That does seem to be the case. I can't notice anything that's obviously missing in the second print. So the brothers who... Whoopsie. So the brothers who look like criminals told only one lie. They shot men but stole nothing. I want to see the other side. There are two cameras. That means two prints every half hour. Show me the 1 p.m. and 1:30 or 1 a.m. and 1:30 a.m. prints from the other camera. Come on. It would seem so, yes. Good. No, not good. You were right. I did not understand the situation. Now I know brothers have lied. I think it is very important to continue with trial. Yay, well done, Bruno. The balance is shifting. Well, it's a start, I suppose. But there must be more in what these jurors are saying that can be used to used to expose the truth. And if I can do that, we just might turn the situation to our favor still. Thank you, Counsel. Continue with the summation examination. And kindly hand that new photographic print to the bailiff to be filed as evidence. The post-shooting photograph has been entered into the court record. Another print in the court record. I wonder if we can make use of that. In Lake of Lies or many dead fish, we must find the truth. Therefore, I say not guilty verdict. All right, let's take a look at the. All right, new print. So the thing I notice is this. Is there anything else that's different? I wish there was a way to just flip back and forth between them. Curtain. The curtain's the same. Can't really tell where Gina was standing. The candelabra. Okay. I think that this is the only difference. Oops, wrong button.
Hold it!
What do you mean, look at the photograph in stereo? Sorry? What? I don't know you. Don't you know? If you look at the photographic print normally, it looks as though the pickpocket girl is about to shoot the victim, obviously.
Objection.
But there's no indication the defendant ever fired the gun. All I'm saying is that if you look at the same print in stereo, it could reveal all sorts of new information. By any chance, are you a fan of stereoscopes? Oh, how did you know? Let's call it a lucky guess. It never gets old seeing two prints merge into one before one's eyes. It's extraordinary, it's captivating, it's the height of modernity. Of course. Oh yes, I think you'll find the stereoscope here is to stay. Giving us new perspectives we could only dream of before. It's the greatest invention the world has ever seen. If only it could give me a new perspective on this case, I might agree with you. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to combine these two. I can only magnify them. Oops, wrong button. Keep doing it.
Hold it!
Sorry, radio transmission? What do you mean? Are you from the Far East? Stop. Yes, from the Empire of Japan. All communication with Far East nations used to take place by mail. Royal Mail steamers take more than a month to complete the journey. Ah, but now we have electric telegram, so we can send messages using electrical signals. Thousands of miles of cable have been laid along the ocean beds connecting the entire world. Thousands of miles of cable on the ocean bed. That makes my head hurt just thinking about it. You are well informed, young lady. But cables will soon become a thing of the past, stop. And just when I was starting to catch up. Radio transmission is the future. Stop. Messages carried over the airwaves to four corners of globe. Stop. Exciting growing. Stop. Excitement growing. Stop. Atmosphere electric. Stop. Right. Try not to wear out your fingers. Era of wireless telegraphy. Stop. Driving technological revolution. Stop. And people say inventions like the stereoscope are the height of technology. Utter piffle. I can't understand it, really, I can't. I really can't. They're just silly toys.
Excuse me.
Juror number 3. I'm sorry to interrupt you when you're obviously fuming, but... What? Do you perhaps have something to say about juror number 5's last remark? As if I couldn't guess. Oh, you bet I do. Say that again. Go on, I dare you. Goodness, are you talking to me? I think you just might be, yes. You think stereoscopes are just toys, do you, huh? Absolutely, I mean, really, a machine to view photographs in 3 dimensions? Why on earth would you not just use your eyes to look at the world around you in all 3 dimensions? What a great way to appease the man. No, I'm sorry. Stereoscopes are of no practical use at all. You just don't know. Pardon. I think you'll find the viewing of a photograph through a stereoscope can unlock all sorts of possibilities. I'm obviously going to have to demonstrate. What sort of possibilities? Well, take a crime scene for example. If you had a pair of photographs from a crime scene that you could view through a stereoscope, it could reveal hidden clues you never even noticed before. What? Have you gotten any prints that we could look at with a stereoscope? Yes. How about this print here? It should do the trick.
Take that!
Alright then, juror number 3. Are you saying you can do this with any 2 suitable photographic prints? Of course I can. Very well then. I'd like you to demonstrate. I'd be delighted to. Just give me one more print and I'll amaze you. And I'll amaze you all.
Take that!
Alright then. These 2 prints were both taken with the same camera in Windy Banks on the night in question. Yes, I see. Tell me, Mr. Lawyer. Do you know how stereographic images work? Do you understand the principle? Well, I think so. I did have a lesson only yesterday. The left and right eyes images need to be the same, only with a slight shift in position of some object. Then, when your brain merges the 2 images together inside your head, it notices the shift as if it were depth. Yes, exactly. It's that small shift between certain objects of the 2 pictures that's really important. So, what happens if the 2 photographs are exactly the same then? No. Obviously that wouldn't work at all. Not for seeing the scene 3-dimensionally anyways. Oh, of course. Now I see. I think the young girl has discovered the secret. I have. Can you uncross your eyes before you tell me? Have another look at these pictures from Hurley's camera, Runo. Go on. Can you see there's a really obvious difference between them? Of course there are. There are 2 people in the first and no people in the second. Well, yes. You can see that straight away, but now Try looking at the picture in 3 dimensions. Oh. Wait a minute. That's interesting. There is a slight difference. Or maybe I'm just wrong. So to start with, you have to cross your eyes and then try to make the 2 pictures overlap exactly. Let's see if by crossing my eyes I can make the quill pens from each picture overlap in the middle. I'm not doing it. Wait. Well, did you manage to see it properly, Runo? What's going on with the 2 pictures? Some of the things on the counter sure jump out at you. Yes, yes, yes! That's it, you see? That's the other amazing power of stereoscopes. Other amazing power? Is something going on? Explain this black magic, eh? Why the deuce did some things on the counter jump out at you like that, I think you'll find that if you consider the basic principle of the stereoscope, you'll answer your own question. Basic principles of the stereoscope. As I said before, if you try to look at two identical pictures using a stereoscope, it won't work at all. It's the slight shift in the positions of certain objects that lets you see pictures 3-dimensionally. In other words, it's too far away anyway. Whoops, I'm sorry. In other words, even though at first glance it seems the objects in the counter haven't moved at all between the 2 pictures, this shows that actually there must have been a slight shift in their positions. Yes, there must have been. Now hold fire there, sir. I got a reasonable grasp on this whole cross-eyed business now, I'd say. But what the devil does this shift between the 2 prints exist? Why the devil does this shift between the 2 prints exist in the first place? Well, what's the answer, fellow? Come on! You're the cross-eyed master. No, he's not. What? Me? I haven't the first idea. You know, Runo, it's quite simple. It is. Just think through it step by step. Think it through step by step. The first photograph was taken at 1 a.m. Then 30 minutes later, the second photograph was taken. But the position of some of the items on the counter appear to have been shifted. To me, it looks more like the entire counter's been shifted, and those objects are probably, yeah. Oops. On the counter appear to have been shifted slightly during the interim. So that means that sometime in the half hour interval, someone must have tampered with the things on the counter. Zookers! Someone tampered? New information. Stop. Not mentioned in testimony so far. Stop. Yes. We've had to go around in circles a little here, it seems. But I'm starting to see what I should be aiming at in this summation examination now. Ladies and gentlemen, the question now is clear. We know the items on the countertop were moved, but by whom? Are you suggesting you might know? Of course. I can tell you right now who is responsible for the almost imperceptible shift of the items on the counter. A save. I am fairly confident that the brothers are the answer. Yes, the Lord Chief Justice, obviously. I can't select both of them. I can only select one of them.
Take that!
See if that's right. It was the witnesses currently in the stand, the Skulkin brothers. Wait. That does not agree with what brothers said in testimony before. They said they did not even have time to pull dukes from Lucy lockets. My phrase book says dukes is meaning of hands, and Lucy lockets is meaning pockets. But is this another lie? Is this what you are saying? Yes, I'm afraid so. Now hold on there a minute. You can't be sure of that. I quite agree. The accused is a common pick purse after all. It's perfectly possible that she went through the things on the desk to see what she might steal. I think that's unlikely. And why exactly? As you can see from this photographic print, the defendant was pointing a gun at the victim. Can someone explain to me how she's pointing it at the victim? How is she pointing it at Windabank? Because it certainly doesn't look like she's pointing it at Windabank to me. It would seem, as my learned friend indicated, that she was coercing Mr. Windabank to open her storeroom door. In other words, Miss Lestrade's interest lay within the storeroom, not in the main shop, giving her no reason to touch anything on the counter. All of which points to one thing. The Skulkin brothers have omitted key facts in their testimony. But the accused is a perk purse, common gutter trash. Why look any further for the wrongdoer here? Because the Skulkin brothers are thieves, madam. No better, in fact, worse than a pick purse. I believe that these brothers were looking for something on the victim's counter that night. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you would condemn the defendant on the grounds that she's a pickpocket, would it not at least be right and proper to thoroughly scrutinize testimony given against her by two thieves? Well said. I, for one, would like to hear more from that shady pair. Okay. Pokey, I'm going to ask you to do a thing from about an hour ago. Can you see when everybody threw their guilty verdicts down if he used his head? Can you all see now? I think you'll find stereoscopes aren't playthings. You've seen their extraordinary potential firsthand. There's 4. Yeah, the doc. Wholeheartedly agree, stop. Must purchase after trial, stop. Will return home via Regent Street, stop. Is she just like a vlogger? Or would that be a togger? That sounds dirty. Well, it would seem that this trial has yet to run its course. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have declared their inclinations via the mighty scales of justice. I hereby call the summation examination to conclusion with the balance altered in the defendant's favor. 2 lean guilty, 4 lean to not guilty. Accordingly, the jury is without consensus. And I order this trial to continue. Yay, well done. Oh, by the way, what? You should hold on to this, Runo. You never know when it might come in useful. Twice in one trial would be unusual, surely, but all right. The stereoscope has been entered into the court record. Lord Van Zykes, will you instruct the witnesses that the court demands additional testimony from them? I'm sure it won't spoil the bouquet to do so, my lord. Yeah. Oh man. My sword is getting sore. My throat is getting sore. I've won myself another chance to probe that pair about their activities that night. And I won't stop probing them until I've proven that Gina is innocent. Having different names for the same characters is a pain in the butt. I could annoy Pokey and say, okay, we're taking a break from this and we're going to do blueprints now, but I don't think that Pokey would appreciate that. Order, please. Let us resume proceedings. Witnesses, you'll now retake the stand. And Gregson looking just as disinterested as ever. But seriously, you can break it if you need a break. I do. My throat is getting really sore. We'll do a couple of runs and blueprints, and I think that's probably where we'll end up finishing today. Like, you can hear it. At least I feel you can hear it. All right. I need to end the YouTube stream so I can start up a new one.